What happened?
I'm still trying to figure this out. That was a head scratcher.
That's what Coach Rule said.
That was one of the most uninspiring efforts I had seen in quite some time. Arguably one of the, if not the worst loss I think Coach Rule has been a part of in his 3 years. People have an argument with UCLA's performance last year. It was
Maryland maybe at home.
Yeah,
They
but
were at home last year. UCLA was coming. They were struggling.
yeah, you talk and you try to rationale and just being a part of the game as long as I have been, and I just keep going back to one thing. And you see a performance like that, where I don't ever want to question the effort, but I have to question the preparation.
Yeah.
I 100% have to question the preparation, how they attacked that week. It's pretty easy to feel sorry for yourself coming off. You're traveling out east. You had to travel again. And Minnesota had a short week as well. But I don't think they approached it the right way mentally. They took for granted how the type of football team Minnesota was, and they got exposed. All those weaknesses that Nebraska's had in the first 6 games, protecting the quarterback, stopping the run, running the football, just kind of all, and culminating into one game, and it was bad. It was not good. And they got to get fixed. This is kind of a crossroads, I feel, of the season. They got to get fixed. It's now or never, I feel like. But to answer your question, 100% a lack of preparation.
You are around the team. You follow around the team. Did you feel that there was any kind of distraction or any kind of issue heading in?
No, I don't think it was. I don't subscribe to the whole distraction thing. I look at the voter polls and stuff like that, and sometimes you just chuckle. But I realize that opinions make the world go around. I think it's really, really simple. I was there when Nebraska lost 19-10 to Iowa State in '92.
Oh, yeah.
I was there when we were losing at the half to Wyoming. I was there when we struggled against Washington State at home. I was dealt a bad blow against Arizona State when we got shut out.
Yeah.
I went out to Pasadena and watched us win by 1 score in a year in which we won a national title. So I understand the focus gets away, but for this team, I think it's part of the growing process where it's easy to pick the low-hanging fruit and talk about what they didn't do. We all know that. The question is why. And I think for this team and this year, they're so into that's not our burden to bear. That's last year's team, that's this year's team, and that's good. It's healthy. But what they've got to go through is everything for the first time too. If you're separating 2024 from 2025, you got to take what comes with it. That means having success on the road. That means people feeling good about you coming back against Michigan. That means people feeling better about coming back against Michigan State. That means feeling good about winning on the road against Maryland and understanding, hey, I'm good with that. I can handle it. We're winning, but we still have some warts and need to get better. That's just emotional maturity. And I think if they're going to continue to write their own versions of this book, that's one chapter you have to include. How do we handle people saying good things about us? How do we not get a false sense of security? How do we understand that if people do think we are pretty good and we are ranked in the top 25, that we're going to continue to get our best shot from a team that enjoys beating our heads in?
Yeah.
And that's just clearly something from the top on down that this team didn't recognize. And I'll be curious to see how they respond next Saturday, because if they don't want to feel like that again, then you have to understand, when you're Nebraska and our fan base is the way that it is, and we travel the way we do, and we talk about Year 3 rule, and his name is mentioned on the national media, and other people don't respect us that way, you're going to get their best shot. And the quicker you understand that, the sooner the three of us will stop having these conversations.
People make fun of P.J. Fleck and his sayings and everything else. I watched his press conference during the week. I watched his press conference after the game.
He's dialed.
Yeah, I believe, I know his team believes, he's got a hypnotic effect on them.
Yeah.
He is dialed.
And I was hesitant. I mean, we talked pre-show, and we know what Minnesota's shown, and the stats say it, the numbers say it. You can easily say that's not a great football team, but I wasn't ready to go there. I've seen this story element too many times when Nebraska's playing P.J. Fleck teams, where Nebraska should handle them. They should win by double-digit points, and they don't, because he gets his team situated, he gets them prepared, he gets you uncomfortable, he gets you impatient, he gets you to do something you're not comfortable doing, And then all of a sudden, when he gets that lead, man, his time management skills, that ball doesn't get snapped with about 5 seconds left on the clock, and he shortens the game. And that's what he does, and that's how he's been doing it. He is a hell of a football coach. I don't care how, his look, his shtick, his whatever it is that goes about him, he knows how to coach football, and he gets the best of his players. He doesn't have a $30, $40 million roster. He gets best of what he can get up to Minneapolis. But I was prepared for a tough battle, and Nebraska got it, and they didn't fight back. And so Nebraska's got to fight back. They got punched in the mouth, and they didn't like it, and we saw the end result. But PJ Fleck, he's a damn good football coach.
It's such a one-play kind of thing. First drive Nebraska has in the third quarter, they're moving the ball. They got a chance to throw to Dane Keaton on that right sideline. He's open. They score there. I think Minnesota's got to play a little different because now they're trailing, opposed to getting the lead and playing differently. It really does come down to a couple of plays.
Yeah, when your team isn't, when you're not quite as established as you want to be with your culture and your emotional maturity and how you approach things, plays like that can swing games by a tremendous margin. You can not reel in a pass. You can overthrow a ball. You can have something really basic. I mean, the run play that Minnesota scored on, it's really, really simple. You see down, and I'm a D lineman, get down, right? If I read face mask on the second level of a linebacker and they're trying to scoop me, get my head on the outside, box that thing. If I'm a runner hitter, get into the box, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is when you're kind of hoping and waiting, but you're unsure, those little things rattle you. Mature teams and teams that have kind of been there, done that, which this team hasn't, and that's not their fault. They're still growing in that maturation. You're easily influenced by the plays you don't make, right? If, you heard Coach Butler talk about it in the presser, and we're going to pick it apart because we don't understand context. We don't like context around here because we rather be right than get it right. But Coach Butler was responding to Coach Rule's comments about calling the game a little vanilla and getting away from creativity. He was responding to a question on, did it seem like that? So he explains that, hey, when we gave up the long run, we were a little shook a little bit, so I got conservative. And people are like, oh, we're in big trouble. This guy's got no business coaching. No, he's telling you what happened with an emotionally immature team. We've talked as a threesome about, well, they did too much here. He shouldn't have done it here, or just get back to the basics. He's human too. He's thinking about those whole dynamics in terms of how his team thinks. So it's easy to vanilla that thing up. But the difference between an excuse and an explanation is ownership. He's owning what happened, and we don't like that either. That's why I just think these guys got to figure out what it is that they do well, who does it well, and just do that. The background noise and our opinions and everything else, let it be what it is. Just go play ball.
Let's talk offensive line, because obviously that was a big conversation. Well, let's say offensive line. Let me say pass protection, because there's so many parts to it. From what you saw, from what you've watched, can you put a percentage on how much was it offensive line? How much is it Minnesota? How much is Minnesota getting after Nebraska? Is it the running back not stepping up? Is it what is the issue?
I mean, I would say probably 33.3%, to running back protection, O-line protection, and quarterback. I think they're all equally responsible.
And maybe even a little play calling.
Potentially, yeah. Obviously, you lose Rocco Spindler with the hand injury.
Yep.
You get Pritchett that gets kicked out of the game for that crazy call.
Targeting, yeah.
Minnesota did a great job with their stunts. They liked the late wrap where Nebraska gets overcommitted to one side and this guy comes free. They did it multiple times just like that right there. It's a really, really good design concept. That play right there, that's just a miscommunication between the back and the tackle. That happened multiple times. Nebraska's got to communicate. The running back has to know which side. Because in pass pro, they'll go man one side, zone to the other. So you got to kind of know where he fits and where can they be? The hole can be to fill in. But it's a communication, it's a physicality thing. And Dylan has to do a better job, play call, step up in the pocket the right way, have some more urgency, some more suddenness, but it's everyone's responsible. But to me, the lack of communication up front between running back and O-line was the biggest area that I think can get fixed the easiest, but also what caused Nebraska the most issues on Friday night.
I don't care how tough you are, how much intestinal fortitude you have. You get sacked 5 times in the first half, you're going to start seeing some things. How much do you think the second half was a reflection of the beating he took in the first half.
No question, right? The last series was completely waving the white flag. You're starting to see ghosts, and it just is what it is. I don't think it's a reflection of his character as much as I think when you know what you've been through and you look at the last 3 or 4 games and it's a multitude of things, it is what it is as a 19-year-old. And I think for this football team in particular, what they've got to understand, and I kind of like the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? One time you see a back get trucked, the delayed pressure. Why do delayed pressures work? Well, clearly you're getting too vertical in your pass game as opposed to playing catch. They can sit back and play 2-man or inverted cover 2 and this shell, and you're impatient because you don't want to just play catch. Well, those delayed stunts can work. If the ball's coming out, I'm going to hit my foot a little quicker, right? So you can delay wrap because you got time, right? We're going to hold. So it's a multitude of things, right? What happened to the quick game? Where are the tunnel screens?
only
Where are
4
the smoke screens? Where?
Yeah.
I mean, just listen, if at the snap of the ball, you're giving Barney 12 yards, I would just throw that guy the ball. I mean, darn be the play.
Smoke.
Just throw him the ball. See if you can. Coach Collins, their defensive coordinator, is a smart individual. He knows exactly what he's doing. That's PJ Fleck's right-hand man. He's been with him longer than anybody on that staff. His pre-snap looks are pretty good. But when your quarterback doesn't run the ball, there are some certain things that you can play 2-man. You can get in some of these coverages and say, okay, listen, if you're gonna get hasty and want to get vertical on us, we're not gonna let you. So that's when you got to kind of pull back and say, you know what, we're going to run the ball or play catch underneath. Those two things didn't happen because I think they panicked because I don't think the mindset was right. The mindset was 4-quarter slugfest.
Yeah.
That should have been what it was. The game plan was get them out of here early and see if they'll tap.
Yeah.
They didn't.
They did not, no.
You found yourself in a 4-quarter fight and you'd trained to go about 3 rounds.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Let's flip the other side. So, I talk a lot about Havoc. 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss. I think there was only about 3 pressures. They hit him once. I mean,
Yeah, again, the game plan. I don't I don't mind vanilla. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay. The best games I've been a part of as a defense, as a team, very basic.
you had dudes though. I'm assuming.
Sure.
I'm gonna beat.
Yeah, if you
I
wanna
got a
call-
guy who can beat you one-on-one.
Yes, we did have Sunday talent, so that did help. But we've seen them get burned before by doing unique stuff and being aggressive. That's what Damon's already alluded to and brought up. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So he brings the pressure. He does all these unique stunts in games. He gets gashed. He doesn't. The guy hit his head on the goalpost one time, but they had a hard time. What happened is, if Nebraska would have had success early in the game, scored points, they got in the red zone, that uniquely changes how he's able to call that game.
Right.
Man.
Right?
Yes.
And how they call the game.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
But also when
You're
that happens,
inside the 15 twice, you have 6 points.
right.
Right.
So
Like,
that
that's not going to cut.
that uniquely changed. All of a sudden, you find yourself in like, man, it's 7-6. It should be 14-0, and they just gashed us. Like as a D coordinator, like, man, I wasn't. You get caught off guard. So you're kind of you're grasping for straws on how to operate and how to.
And he sees
call
how
plays.
the offense is
Yeah.
playing, right?
Exactly.
So you there's this tendency to not want to give up too much because you feel like you have to play complementary football.